Hello everyone, this is Bhagyajit Raval from Peri-Urban University, Vadodara. The title of my paper is Decoding Spatial Residence through the lens of urban morphology. I have chosen the case of Vastral, which is in urban village in Ahmedabad, the state of Gujarat. This is part of my doctoral studies along with my guide, Professor Dr. Shyama. So this is a portrait paper and going to present it. So this is an introduction. As we know, at present nearly 55% of the world's population is living in urban areas. Being a self-organizing system, cities are composed of various complexities and populations, such as social, cultural, economical, and physical. But these complexities are steering the cities towards a more complex and global future. Ahmedabad, in the state of Gujarat, is also undergoing rapid evolution. Different areas of Ahmedabad, including the historic precincts and urban villages, are turned into urban places. Based on their respective resiliency, they respond and adapt to the dynamic urban transformation caused by the market forces. As you know, the ability to adapt incremental spatial growth by reorganizing itself and retaining its urban form is different for each neighborhood. Therefore, it is crucial to study and understand the correlations between spatial morphology, social cohesion, and resilience. To put this spatial morphology and resilience into one frame, we need to develop a framework with a comprehensive study of various attributes of a city-level urban form and its suitable adaptation to the system. So the study seeks to retain the self-growing capacity of the urban villages and promote resilience in the growth phase and find ways in which the planners could utilize the relations of spatial morphology and urban scaling. The nature order of the self-growing capacity of cities gradually reduces as the time passes. This is the methodology. As you can see, identified cases of urban form decay due to restricted body of knowledge. Then literature review is about spatial morphology, urban systems, urban resilience, and urban resolutions. Relating spatial morphology to integrated social cohesive framework, and conducting study of the selected case of Vastral, and assessing resilience and deriving inferences. The scope of the work is the research shall try to decode the spatial resilience of Vastral through the study of its urban morphology to gauge the resilience in terms of parameters like diversity, connectivity, redundancy, and robustness. Now, in this slide, the terminologies like urban form, urban morphology, and spatial morphology is explained. As per Kostov, an urban form is a matrix within which we organize daily life. The study of urban form is termed as urban morphology. Spatial morphology will be defined as the interconnected patterns of spaces which arise at urban and building scales as space is organized and differentiated by physical and social boundaries. Here, space could be defined as enclosed, partially enclosed areas within buildings, open areas, and strips around buildings. Now let's talk about spatial form as an intermediate system. Peri-Urban post his multidisciplinary research after 40 different publications across literature that figured out the 5 most associated elements to urban forms. And they are diversity, connectivity, redundancy, modularity, and efficiency. Now the parameters of resilience are related to the scales of urban form to understand the constant and the variables in the process of analysis. We have to check the resiliency. We have to check the resiliency at the plot level, at the level of street edges, resilience at the block level, resilience at the street level. Urban growth in the context of the adaptive cycle is best presented by the infinity loop, which is developed by Rowling and Goldberg. We see when we start from the exploitation and conservation, release, and reorganization. Now, this model describes ecosystem dynamics and development. It consists of dynamic interactions among 4 basic functions: exploitation, conservation, release, and reorganization. The first 2, when the R and K stages, are similar to ecological succession. The next function is the release phase, the omega phase. It takes place when the conservation phase has built elaborate and tightly bound structures that have become overconnected, so that a rapid change is triggered. The system has become brittle. This process of change both destroys and releases opportunity for the full research, which is reorganization. In this phase, called the alpha phase, the released materials are mobilized to become available for the next exploitation phase. So if you see in the chart, there is a graph of potential low to high to connectedness. Now if we use this chart for the resilience to measure the resiliency scale, we will be able to measure the resiliency of the urban form. Now figure on the left indicates the parameters for analyzing resilience. So when we see the figure, you can see the urban resilience attributes in the center and various characteristics for the resiliency, which is robustness, efficiency, diversity, redundancy, physical and social connectivity, capital building, flexibility, and innovation. When it comes to figure on the right, this is a report of building urban resilience and evolution, the World Bank Group's evolving experts. This was between 2007 and 2017. The level of resilience is shown in the left side of the graph, and when you see at the bottom, it is our resilience characteristic. So when you see this chart, these are the different stages of resilience. The first stage is awareness. So there is awareness means identifying the risk, enhance knowledge and preparedness for support, resilient actions and behaviors. And it comes to coping. Systems are able to withstand shocks, maintain essential functions, and is able to quickly recover. Third stage is about adapting behavior and institutional changes as a result of learning and reflection on past experiences. In the fourth stage is about transforming. So transform in the state of transforming, policies and investments unlock suppress economic and social potentials. Characteristics of resilience are also shown below, like robustness, redundancy, inclusiveness, coordination, and reflectiveness. Chart on the right indicates the morphological evolution of Ahmedabad right from 1972 to 2012. The Ahmedabad city was developed along the bank of River Sabarmati. This was called Ashwini. Ahmedabad was previously called BUT. Ahmed Sahib laid the foundation of the Vadodara, which is the heritage core of Ahmedabad city, including the structure of important meaning and fortified old town. However, that was called the East Ahmedabad, and the city only grew towards the west, post construction of the narrow bridge, and important state persons and businessmen moved to the party area of the current Ahmedabad city, originally called Karnataka. So mainly the development started from western side only. The eastern side was left as it is. Considering the evolution of Ahmedabad city during the decade, because the 125th ring road, the following figure demonstrates the spatial expansion of the city because of the radial planning. Now, the radial planning, you have to see the graph, radial planning has taken place in the city of Ahmedabad, and you can see the various developmental phase through the color codes given on the left hand side. So, the 21 development is the latest. Figure on the right shows the selected cases for the study. Vastral was originally an urban village located on the urban fringe of Ahmedabad. Over the years, it has transformed into one of the urban cores of the city of Ahmedabad. The study has attempted to map the urban transformations incurred by Vastral over 2 decades. The reference was the benchmarks years selected for mapping the urban transformations at 2000, 2010, and 2020. So these are the 3 phases wherein we have marked the development and spatial growth of Vastral. The transformational changes are studied concerning specifically identified variables of urban development. Now, those identified variables are figure ground, building use, building height, ground floor use, building typology, property prices, land use, land ownership, and plot-wise exercise. Now, in the section, you can see the new development coming around at Vastral. This is the metro station and metro track, as you can see, and the flyovers have also come up there. Some pedestrian bridges are also made, and this is a busy junction. All traffic, moving from Vrindavan city, most of the vehicles goes from this place. Now, within the Vastral area also, we had selected and demarcated some study area, which is shown in red. Now, this is the picture of Google Earth, and you can see the boundary which is decided as a study area. Now, we can see the figure ground. This is the figure ground in the year 2000 for the identified area. You see the development in 2010. Now, built is 14%, converted to 6%. This is the change in 2020, built 22%, and built 78%. If we talk about the building use, this is the building use in 2000, which is 40,272 meters square. Building use in 2010, so you can see the rapid increase in that, and some residential structures, commercial structures, etc. are also not able. This is now in 2020, where 265,000 square meter area is there. Now, this is the building height. So you can see the transformation in the building height. This is the building height in the year 2000 and 2010, 2020. This is how we have tried to show various indicators in the transformations over the decades. This is the overall 3D map of the star. This is a 2020 image with building heights and uses. So if you talk about ground floor use, this is a ground floor use. In Vastral, you can see most of the things were residential, 2.4%, 1% of commercial. Then residential, 2010, it is 11.7%, commercial 1.6%. So this is how the ground floor use has got a transformation. Now the building type, there are different building types where there was an apartment or a row house or detached windows. Is all result and mapping. In 2010, 2020, land use, So this is the land use in 2020. You can see 70% is residential. Land prices. So you can see the land prices in residential and public areas. We see the land ownership ratio. In 2020, private ownership is of 70%, whereas public ownership is of 30%. And only plot-wise FSI, now it is varying from 1.2 to 4.5%. There is transformation. Now these are some of the observations. Due to rapid urbanization around the urban village, the growth of the existing village has increased in an unprecedented manner in the last decades. Land development in terms of land use and platforms is evident along with the major road. Instead of any further continuation of the organic growth pattern of the original Vastral village, which was required, provision of trunk infrastructure such as the metro and the 45 meters road at a larger city scale had played a major role in achieving the different FSI in the new areas developed beside the original Vastral village. This similarity in FSI is achieved at different locations within the area, causes several issues related to provision of infrastructure facilities, parking, etc. Due to drastic differences in the FSI outside and within the Vastral village, morphological changes in terms of high-rise, high density in the new areas developed and low-rise, low density in the Vastral village. Now, it can be observed that due to such discrepancies in the densities of the city and its urban villages, street edges have drastic differences in their physical form. If you talk about what can be done next, the way forward is based on the aforementioned observations. An appropriate set of regulatory frameworks would be developed by policymakers to manage the ongoing urban transformation within and outside the urban areas of cities like Ahmedabad. Thank you. These are the credit sources I have mentioned. Thank you all. Ending my session.